Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Debs. Today we're back to discussing the canceled podcast. More so, Tana Mongeau is kind of like a continuation of this kind of series that I have going on here. So just to kind of in short, I don't know about Brooke Schofield. She does sound apologetic, and she is definitely saying the right words. It's also not my place to it wasn't her racist tweets weren't targeted at me, so it's not my place to accept the apology for anyone else's behalf. But for me personally, I'm not sure. I don't know, but we'll see with time. And also there's that element of perhaps maybe she could be the lesser of two evils. I don't know. My opinion, allegedly. Oh, also, I'm going to kind of discuss something particularly about Tana Mongeau's alleged lawsuit that she received from her parents. That's one thing that kind of made me take a second glance. There's something, in my opinion, off about it. So I'm just going to start off by saying this is all alleged, my opinion. I'm just kind of trying to, just kind of come up with my own theory. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I'm just going off of what I'm seeing. However, what I do notice is a lot of, what Tana says about this in particular doesn't add up. It tends to change. So that kind of is making me believe that there's got to be more to it, or that it could be, who knows, a red herring. But I don't have no proof on this. This is just my opinion, allegedly. So yeah, just putting that out there. I'm just kind of trying to have fun here and discuss this. But yeah, so in general, I would say that Brooke said all the right words. Tana did not. I don't know. Her vibes were off, and also the shirt. I didn't like the shirt. I think she was trying to replicate Alyssa Violet's moment, but I don't think that she pulled it off. But whatever. It's just yeah. And also, I don't like that it didn't take them very long just to get back at, making little digs or kind of being a little bit bitchy, I guess. Old habits die hard, as they say, maybe. But yeah, I guess I don't know about the Brooke thing. I guess, like I said, not my place. She's saying all the right words, but talk is cheap, so we'll see. But right now, Tana actually interested me more with a particular story that she talked about her parents. So we have lots of videos here. It's going to probably be a very long video, so let's get right into it. So this is the most recent video that they just posted, which is Brooke's return to the podcast. Let's go.
I just hope moving forward, you can see that's not who I am, and I'll try to prove it forever.
You know some crazy, just random crazy shit that happened to me yesterday?
What?
And this feels like deja vu because it's the exact same thing but in a different font. You're gonna get a kick out of this one. So tomorrow I am going back to Vegas to play in yet another poker tournament.
You are a Rolling Stone, my sister.
I gotta secure my other career.
So one thing I have noticed is Tana all of a sudden is doing a lot of poker playing, a lot. So just keep that in mind.
I've never been so jealous of these fucking influencer fucks that just bought houses in Vegas and are now making more money off gambling than being an influencer.
But are they?
Oh, okay. And she's also putting it out there that you can make more money than an influencer by gambling, and if she has so much money, maybe it could come from gambling. Could it maybe be a cover-up for something else? I don't know. Just saying, that's kind of where my head's at right now. But let's keep watching.
Making a lot of money from gambling?
Yes. Well,
Steve will do it
$25,000 the other night. Just randomly. Steve will do it, walks up to me with $25,000 and goes, "Thanks for being friends with my girlfriend. I love you." It is that disposable of currency to all of these influencers that are taking that.
I'm sorry. I don't know of anyone that would just walk up to someone and just be like, here's $25,000. You must think we were born yesterday, girl. Like,
no, Makoa had to give his social. Like, we had to cash it out like that. Like, it was nuts. I was like, what? Like,
that is insane.
and that's my hometown. I want to go back home. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Not yet. I know. But so last time we talked about my mother, we were in a similar situation, right? My birth mother, she showed up to my poker tournament in Las Vegas, right? And yesterday I land from my 18-hour flight home, and I didn't have Wi-Fi the whole time. I slept the whole time. I was just like exhausted. And I get off the plane and I open up a text from my friend Josie Canseco, and it is a screenshot of a FaceTime call on her father's phone, and it is a screenshot of my birth father. And she says, "Is this your dad?" And I said, "Well, carry the 4, subtract the 2. Iraj now, but I classify myself as a Stewart, but I guess at one point I was that man's sperm. Yes. You know, Sorry.
Yeah, that got weird, like for no reason.
It was so unnecessary. But I was like, yeah, what's up? And so Josie's dad, Jose, my best friend.
I love Jose.
I hate people. I love them. Go back and watch the video if you know, you know. Jose was playing in a poker tournament in Vegas, like at a random casino, and he somehow gets.
I'm not quite sure who Jose, but the name does sound familiar. But like, okay, so she's saying he was at a random casino, and he runs into her dad, and that I guess his daughter takes a picture. Or sends a video of Tana's dad sitting with them at a poker table. So I'm not quite sure how famous he is, but clearly he's famous or famous adjacent. So I would think that he probably would be sitting like almost like a higher stakes poker table. And from what Tana has said, that he doesn't really have money, but I guess maybe he got a bit from her. I don't know, but it's very weird that they would just be running in the same circles. Like, don't you think? At least that's what I think.
Seated next to my father.
Wait, haven't you told? This just happened? Didn't something really similar? Like your mom sat next to somebody?
No, something identical happened with Ari's family, but we can circle back to there. And Jose's sitting there, and my dad is just on a tangent about how much he fucking hates me, and about how Tana Mongeau's his daughter, and she's famous, and everything she says is a lie, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. And Jose's like, wait, I know her. Like, you know what? Like that's my kid's great friend. I've spent.
Yeah, what are the odds of that, huh? Like, what are the odds of that? He just, like, unsolicitedly just starts, like, running his mouth, and it just so happens that he knows her. I don't know. Sounds a little sus.
More Thanksgivings in the last 10 years with Jose Canseco than Richard Mongeau, okay?
Yeah.
And so Jose FaceTimes Josie to get her to, like, watch this happen. And Josie gets on the phone. My dad is, like, turning. He's like, fuck Tana, yada, yada, yada. And Josie Canseco cusses out my father.
That's I love Josie for that.
Hangs up on him.
So she's saying all of this drama and yelling and whatever, like, went down at a poker table, likely a high stakes poker table. If some rich dude and his rich daughter. I don't know, like, I definitely don't, like, gamble, like, quite a lot, but I have, gone to casinos in my day. I've never, of course people get, like, excited or whatever, but I don't know that it would be okay if someone was just, like, yelling, screaming, cussing, or whatever while sitting at a poker table. I don't know, just putting that out there.
Like, where the fuck do you get off? Like, you're just gonna sit there and talk shit about me to Jose, who, like, loves me?
It's really, like, so bold. Do you think he knew that Jose knew you, or no? Do you think he's seen the I Hate People, I Love Them video?
I don't know. If I had to guess, he probably still has a flip phone, so no. But he obviously probably knows who Jose is, and, like, maybe knows he has a daughter, and, like, maybe knows we're friends. I really don't know. But, and I was just writing about this in my book a lot, so I can, like, get into it. I will get into it eventually, but my dad was just the type of person growing up who would tell, like, the checkout clerk his entire life story for, like, narcissistic validation, and then, like, go home and, like, beat my mom, right? Oh. It just doesn't surprise me that he's, like, to this day going around to, like, strangers, like, and his whole shtick, I guess, is, like, that I lied. And I'm like, dude, where the fuck would I get off lying, saying that, like, I grew up in, like, a shitty household with, like, cockroaches and horrible parents? Like, I would almost rather have just lied saying I had a great childhood and, like, never opened the can of worms for myself.
I need to know what that is. I almost feel like it's like they feel absent, because I have the same situation where my mom will be like, what trauma? Like, what are you even talking about? And I'm like,
it's just extreme narcissism. It's extreme, like, to the fullest.
It's like they blacked out or something and, like, don't remember. Like,
I don't know.
It's so frustrating to me too.
And he was saying, like, she said we're crackheads, and I never, that was never my shtick. Okay, that was your shtick.
That's my shtick.
Like, I just said that they were abusive, bad people. They were, they are, they sued me. It's all in the fucking no shit. Where would I get, like, and why would I have at 13 or 14 been taken in by Amari's family who, like, vouches for that if I had, like, a stable, perfect mom? Like, where the fuck would I get off lying about that? And it's so crazy.
For what benefit? You know what I mean?
Because I sit here now and I'm thinking about the thousands of strangers in Las Vegas, Nevada who have, like, heard this story from him.
And probably.
Sorry, just give me 1 second. So here she says when she was 13, 14, she moved out from her parents' home, and she moved in with her best friend Amari and his family. Like, they essentially adopted her. So just keep that in mind, because, like, the age or the dates tends to blur, and she mixes it up. So just keep that in mind. So here she's saying when she was 13, 14, She moved out of her birth parents' home and she moved in with her best friend, and essentially they adopted her. Okay, just keep that in mind.
Like, we believe it.
Yeah, and it's just like, can you fucking croak already?
Okay, that's a little.
And I really mean it. And I know that that's like a crazy thing to say, but it's like, how are you still doing this?
How frustrating. Oh,
like,
I'm sorry.
And it's like, in what crossover world would Josie be cussing out my birth father on FaceTime?
No, it's like Slay Josie.
It's just
like 1 second she's walking the Victoria's Secret fashion show,
and the next minute she has my fucking back. Like, I appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, I don't know who she is, no offense, but like, I guess she's a Victoria's Secret model from the sounds of it, so she must have a lot of money, so I would imagine she'd be sitting at like a high stakes table of some kind. So I find it really odd, like, that her parents, like she says, like, they come from nothing, cockroaches, this and that. I find it really weird that he would just happen to like run into them there and then be like, oh, Tana, and just randomly start talking shit about her, and it just turns out that they also know her. I don't know.
It so much, but it's so crazy because I love going home to Vegas, but it's like, I hate knowing these little gremlins.
They're just crawling around.
Yeah, and like won't.
Wait, okay, so little gremlins crawling around. Okay, who are the gremlins? I'm trying to think. Who are the gremlins? Also, mind you, Tana has been herself going back and forth to play poker quite a bit. And she has had multiple stories of her parents. Also, like, because her family's from Vegas. She has, like, multiple stories of her parents running into people that she knows, like, influencer circles at the casino, high stakes, whatever. And so this is now, I think, her second or third retelling of this. So I don't know, something's very off with that, but anyways, let's carry on. Not to mention that she wants to see her dad croak, whatever.
Stop. And it's like, I don't know, I guess as of late, apparently my mother like left my father, like he's like,
I hope so,
you know, whatever, and that's like, I guess, good for her. Like,
it's hard to do, like, even, I mean, bad, you know, people aside, like, it's hard, you know, that's a hard situation.
It's just, I don't know, obviously the abuse was just tenfold. I am kind of like waiting for the book to really air it all the fuck out, like, just because it's so much. I'd be on this couch for literally ever, like, discussing the details of my childhood, but to just be roaming around saying that I've like lied about it all is like so infuriating to me. And this happened before with Ari's family. Like, Ari's uncle or aunt, I forget, was sitting at a poker table. My dad was doing the same thing, and they were like, wait, my like nephew is best friends with her and lives with her.
Oh, okay. So this is another story I think she's going to get into of one of her best friends' aunt or uncle, she can't remember, went to a casino in Vegas and ran into one of her parents again. And since she says she's had no contact with them for like a very long period of time, how would his aunt or uncle know who they are, what they look like, and what are the odds that they just keep running into these people in these high stakes kind of expensive tables?
At the time,
yeah,
and then my dad like went on this whole tangent, was cussing them out, like knowing it's been like, and that was probably like 4 years ago, like knowing that it's just like, it's just still
that's his elevator pitch.
Yeah, like that's so fucking insane to me. And what a crossover episode. I'm about to see Jose on Saturday and I'll get more love, but
I can't wait to hear more.
I have been craving Justin Bieber pasta from Il Pastel lately, and how great it would be to get that level of culinary satisfaction from home. I opt for fast food or recyclable and reusable. Pick as few as 4 or as start a small. Today's episode of the Cancelled Podcast.
Yeah, sorry about that. The ads. Oops. Yeah. Hold on, it's almost over. I hope. Oh, no. Yeah, so just to kind of debrief, yeah, so far she's been going to casinos and participating in poker tournaments quite a bit recently, and I guess so have her parents. Anyways.
And
they should just start a small group. They could honestly get a couch. They your first week. That's
okay. And
they should just start a small group. They could honestly get a couch. They could do exactly what we do.
Well, you know what's crazy?
So
She accuses me of making up trauma to to like match you. She says, I know you want to be like Tana so bad, but like you're just making things up. And I'm like, if bless your heart, but I am sparing so much information.
It's literally that's the gag. I'm like, if everything I've ever said about my parents online, and I mean this, sorry to cut you off, I mean this so fucking hard. Genuinely, I mean this with everything. Take my blood. I put this on Amari's life. Like I put this on everyone I love. Everyone I love's life. Everything I've ever said about my child and my parents online is 1% of who they are and what happened to me.
Yeah,
like
it's so fucking infuriating. And that's what I'm saying. Where it's like almost like they blacked out. Of course, my mom was literally on crystal meth the whole time, so it's like shocking. She doesn't fucking remember it. But it's so infuriating because she's like, her favorite thing to say is like, you're making up all this trauma. And I'm like, if anything, I am sparing you so much. It's like, you know how Jeanette McCurdy, like her whole, I haven't actually read her book, but
you should. It's so amazing.
And she talks about how like there was a lot that she felt ashamed to say while her mom was still alive, because it's like obviously like I still love my mom and stuff, and like I don't want to, you know, like. If I told the truth, like it would be crazy. You know what I mean? But it's so frustrating to be in a text thread with only me and try to convince me that I'm making things 100%. Up. It's, oh my God, it like literally infuriates me so bad. And her favorite, I don't know, I didn't want to unblock her. I don't want to be in contact with my mom at all, but she was going, you know, of course she's.
But you gotta just let them at this point. You know what I mean? Like same with that shit. Like I'll see Jose and we'll laugh about it, and it just like is what it is. I really do. Word to Jeanette McCurdy. I don't know if we probably talked about this before, but I just appreciate her book title and her opening that door to being raised by like true abusive narcissists and being happy when they died, because I'm just sitting here watching this like still cause trauma and turmoil, like you know, like for my life, and I'm just like, yeah, I just like what a horrible man who has never once. How do you not feel sorry for abusing like your little daughter? Like that's so sad.
Because they'll convince themselves it's not true and it never happened. Like I don't know, my mom wasn't abusive. Well, she was abusive, honestly, everyone but me, but I was the only one who didn't get hit. I don't know why.
Coffee.
But I like, I mean, obviously like there's so much to it, and like I want to spare, like I love her, and like it's a really like it's.
Okay, just a little side note. Just kind of like some, you know, backstory. So Tana Mongeau alleges that her parents tried to sued her for defamation, essentially. And I guess she has kind of discussed her childhood in the past, and they said that, yeah, she was lying. They tried to sue her. She says that originally they tried to sue her for like $1 million. So I'm going to end up like playing this stuff later on, but I just wanted to kind of give you context in case you didn't know. So in that, when she discusses it, she also says that essentially she was gagged, where she's not supposed to talk about them like pretty much at all. It's like complete, I don't know, but we'll get into it. But just keep that in mind as she's talking, because in the past she said that she's not supposed to talk about it because essentially it's like similar to a non-disclosure agreement, similar to that. So it's interesting now that she's yapping away when in the past she essentially had a gag order, more or less, but we'll get into that. But just, yes, keep that in mind if you didn't already know the context.
The struggle I had, and that's how I feel like I keep ending up in these like really emotionally abusive like situations or relationships and stuff, because it's like that's what I've known always, and like
no, breaking that cycle was the hardest thing I've ever done.
It's hard to block, and like my sister and I, like Megan, this is one of my sisters has had my mom blocked for years. She has 2 kids. My mom's never met either of her kids, and like she reached out to me and she was like really helpful, because it's like she's like, of course it's hard to do and you feel so guilty and like if you feel horrible, but it's like at what point is it like I don't want to be a victim of this anymore? I'm about to be 28
and the
years
sad
old.
thing is like that's genuinely why I think Jeanette said that, because it's like here I am, I haven't spoken to this man since we were in court, and even before that we hadn't spoken for 5 years, like fucking at all really before that, unless I was.
Okay, so bear that in mind, because that will come up later. So she says that she spoke to him in court, just like a physical appearance in court with him where she spoke to him. And she's saying that, alleging that that was the last time they spoke. So let's keep that in mind, because her story does change.
Was victim to just like abuse that I wasn't warranting, you know what I mean? Like I wanted away as soon as possible, and it's still causing me turmoil. Like so long as he's alive, it will cause me turmoil, and like that is such a sad thing to say.
It's just not fair, because we didn't choose to get born. Like
I remember being 10 and saying that,
I had this conversation today, like I didn't choose to be born, and it's like now I have this like huge responsibility to parent somebody who didn't parent me. No, and it's just like I feel like it's just so frustrating. Like I don't know, the greed, like that's what it is for me. It's like I feel this like there's a sense of entitlement and greed, like that I don't understand, and it's like for what did you ever do to deserve what I've earned for myself?
They think because they gave birth to you that you are an extension of them, and they are entitled to that because of how sick they are, regardless of whatever they endured. And I think there is something to be said as well. My dad's about to be 80. I'm like, please soon, hopefully.
That's crazy. You do have like older parents.
That he grew up in a generation where it was like kids could be so abused and they were still just they were still in like they were owing their parents regardless. And so maybe that like generational gap.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's trickier when somebody's a little bit old, like, yeah.
All I know is if I ever bring a child into this world one day, I will do everything in my power to make them feel loved, seen, and heard, and taken care of.
It's kind of special though, like, I literally was just having this conversation, but it's like, it's exciting that we get to like make our own families.
100%.
And my clock's ticking. I gotta get started.
Thank you so much to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. You guys have used my code so much that SeatGeek eyes, like, you know what I mean? Like I could even cry thinking about it was really amazing. I mean, I always say this about Makoa, but like getting to show him things that I've seen or see things through his eyes, like, you know what I mean? Like I could even cry thinking about him seeing the Eiffel Tower like light up for the first time, like looking at it like,
that's
through his eyes, like being in all these beautiful places that I've been so lucky enough to have been was definitely the highlight and beautiful. And last year at this exact time, Paige and Ty and I were in the exact same places. And we kind of spent the whole year saying like 1 year from those dates, like we'll be back in Europe together. And like we got to do that and kind of create new memories in places that we loved a year ago. And that's why we stayed out there. That's the thing is it's like, I'm getting all these comments like,
wait, I'm not quite sure. I can't remember if it's over now. Let's just skip ahead a little bit. Hold on.
and then I even was saying on my birthday, like I'll probably drink here and there until Europe and in Europe and then stop when I'm home.
Okay, so I think that is it, at least for the conversation with respect to her parents. So we can move on. So I'm going to kind of go like backwards essentially in order. So this is like a video after this this was 3 months ago on Cancelled Podcast, where she's discussing her, I think it's her mom. So yeah, let's have a listen.
Before they die is, do I want to, you know what I mean?
Like, do you feel like there's anything you're gonna regret having not said?
I've read so many other people's stories. As much as I hate talking about Reddit, I'm like, that's where like, I love Reddit so much. Like the people on that thread of just who have gone through so many similar things to me, like their stories are so powerful and insane. And I've really come to the conclusion that I don't want to talk to them before they die. Like I feel like everything that I have said or done, like I've done, you know what I mean? And it would just be reopening the same can of worms to me. And
for what?
And I spent my whole life trying to change these people. And I think I'm finally so happy because I have full accepting peace. And like Deborah and Araj have done more for me as a mother and father than my parents ever could. And I don't think my parents ever knew me as a person and don't know me now. And you know what I mean? There's just nothing there for me. And I'm the happiest I've ever been accepting my life for exactly what it is. And I just don't, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I hadn't heard from them in a while and whatever. And then, as you know, Isabella lives with me, and Isabella's mom and my mom, I guess, used to be like closer friends just because their daughters were best friends and whatever. And I just recently, like before we went on tour, heard that my mom was reaching out to Isabella's mom asking for my address and that she was going to show up. And Isabella's mom was like, dude, I'm not going to give it to you. Like, I can't do that. I know how Tana feels, yada, yada, yada. And my mom ends up like completely severing ties with her. And that's like her only friend. So then I'm like, dude, that's like, even that within itself is crazy. It just showed, like, I know she went psycho on like Isabella's mom and like, that's just crazy. And then I guess in the final instance of that conversation, she said, well,
okay, so this would have been after she allegedly got sued by her parents. So this would have been after. So keep that in mind. And again, her parents live in Las Vegas. And yeah, let's hear her out. And of course, if you haven't put two and two together already, she alleges that she doesn't speak to them at all. Okay.
well, then I'll just go to one of her shows. So I'd been like, I didn't even tell you this because it was just like, I'm not gonna like put that on anyone else's plate. It's just, but in the back of my mind at every single show we've done, I've been like, dude, is today the day she's really gonna like do her big one? And like, that's gonna be so awful and so embarrassing and like so sad and just like,
I don't think it's embarrassing, but I definitely like, it would put a lot,
embarrassing
just a lot of
for
pressure
her
on you.
almost. And it's like, that makes me sad within itself that it's like, you know what I mean? Whatever.
I mean,
and
you're
so
still human, obviously, like,
yeah. And so I had this kind of like knowledge that she had been trying to like show up where I was, right? And I swear to God, I woke up in Vegas the day of my poker tournament and like in my head, like on some psychic shit, I was like, today's the day she's gonna do it. Like I knew it all day. And like all day, I had such crippling anxiety. And like I kept just...
Interesting how her parents tend to show up at poker things very regularly. I really want to know more about like what the lore is about that.
being like, dude, like poker gives me anxiety. Like it just does, but like not like that. You know what I mean? Like not that level of anxiety. And it was just like, I was like, dude, like, I don't know why I feel this sense of like impending doom all day. And then I walk out and she's like there and she showed up.
So did you see her?
No.
Makoa saw her?
So I'm inside playing poker and she like taps on Makoa's shoulder and is like talking to him, which is crazy within itself. Like I'm so happy I've been with this man for a while to the point that he...
Yeah, Makoa is her boyfriend, by the way.
Yeah, because that would have been a lot of like, if it were a new relationship, that would have just been...
And that within itself is so crazy and like selfish to me and like just like, what? You know? And so she's like taps on his shoulder and is like, I'm Tana's mom. Like, do I look like her? Like saying all this just like crazy shit to him and is like, promise me that she'll see me like whatever, yada, yada. And then so he comes and tells me and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing this. I'm not like rewarding this behavior like at all, which is, it's just insane that I still have to like be in that position, like whatever. So I'm like, even if it makes me seem like such an like evil person, I'm like, get her out. Like, I don't care. I don't want to do this right now. And it's just like, there's cameras everywhere. There's so much.
Like, yeah, that's not fair to put you in a position where you like almost can't say no. It's like,
yeah, it's just, it's so unfair and it's whatever. And I'm like crying at this poker tournament. It's just embarrassing. Like all these people are like still there and it's like just awful.
So, I don't know. Okay, so she's kind of, at this point, said multiple stories of, like, her parents just showing up places, yelling, whatever, talking shit on her name. And and I guess she alleges that they tried to sue her for defamation, but can she not hit them with a cease and desist or something like that? Or maybe like, what do you call it? I mean, I don't know if that would, I wouldn't say that would warrant like a restraining order or anything like that, but especially if it's like more so accusations of them talking to other people about you. But Vegas is a big place. Yeah, her parents live there, like that's where Tana's from. Like Vegas is a big place. I just find it really weird that her parents that are like, you know, very like don't come from a lot of money, very simple folks, as she herself has said. I just struggle to believe that they're constantly going to these like high stakes poker tables and continuously running into influencers or, you know, either famous or famous adjacent people that are in the same circle as Tana. I just find that a little bit odd. Like Vegas is a very big place, you know. There's lots of casinos out there. Like, what are the odds of that?
I feel sad for her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like driving down there and wanting to see me. And like, I know it's sad and whatever. And so I decide finally to like text her, and she's text, and I'm just like, you can't do that. And she's just like, I love you. I miss you. I want to reconnect. And I just like, I really thought to myself, and I was like, I'm going to take this as the last time I probably ever speak to her. So like, I'm going to say my big one. So I just kind of like said my big one. I was like, dude, you can't even say like reconnect. Like, I don't think we ever connected. And I spent my whole life feeling like I was raising you guys, and I don't want to be put in that position again. And like, I believe that you wanted a kid, and I believe that you wanted to love me. And like, I often think about you as like a young girl, and it makes me really sad, like the way shit played out, but it is what it is.
I feel like I used to always like hear you talk about it, and it used to make me sad because I was like, well, you know, she's your mom, and like, blah, blah, blah. And like, I felt like a type of way about it because in my head, it was like, well, family is family and whatever. And I feel like even in the past like year, I'm like, family's not family. Like family 100%. Could be anybody, but like, just because somebody's blood related to you, like, that's like kind of what you're saying. You had your whole life to connect with me, and now
you want to.
You know what I mean? And you try, and it's like, okay, well, at what point is it like
where were you when I needed you?
Yeah.
Like, where were you when I fucking needed you the most? Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. It's just like, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's just like, you were never, ever fucking there. And now you want to be there. And like, you don't know me. And like, that makes me sad. But it's like, what am I going to do? Like play catch up for a million years? And like, if I'm playing catch up with you, that's for you. And like, why am I going to
so even they like for their conscience, and so that they feel like that they
exactly. You know what I mean? I keep writing shit out. Like, I forgive you and I hope you're happy and whatever. And I'm like deleting it because I'm like, I'm saying this for you. And
So allegedly Tana says that prior to this they had sued her for defamation, and it seems like, I mean, it could very well be that her dad and her mom have a very different mentality, and kind of that's the vibe that I'm getting from her insinuations, that her dad was more like the out-of-pocket one. So who knows, it very well could be that it was like more so her dad that was responsible for that. And because she's saying that her mom was there and her mom was kind of trying to rekindle, like, trying to connect with her, whereas her dad, who ran into a couple other different famous people or whatever that knew Tana, said that he was more so yelling, screaming, talking shit about Tana. So very interesting. And also, how do they know that Tana would be there? Well, I mean, I think she may have been doing like almost like a celebrity poker, well, almost like an influencer poker thing. And this is just an opinion, alleged, I don't know shit. However, one thing to take note of is casinos. A lot of times casinos do get used to launder money. Just saying, that's a thing. So I wonder if, you know, like, is it possible that maybe celebrities or influencers could go to casinos to try to like avoid paying taxes or laundering their money? I don't know, but all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, I keep seeing these like influencer things of influencer tournaments at casinos or something, like out of nowhere. I don't know. Just saying. But anyways, let's carry on.
And like, you know, and it's like, why am I going to show up for you when you never showed up for me? And it's just like, you also actively chose to sue me and choose having my money over a relationship with me and choose like taking from me. Like, at what point is it like you made your bed and you have to lie in it? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm even just thinking like, even if we just started brand fucking new, like, she would show up and be like, I'm Tana's mom, and that shit would piss me off. Like, no, the fuck, I'm Tana's mom.
Yeah.
Deborah's Tana's mom. Brooke's Tana's mom. Like, you know, everyone else gets.
It's just a weird like sense of entitlement almost. It's like, I don't know.
100%.
I have like a similar feeling right now where it's like, I make so many excuses and I'm like, you know, my relationship with my parents is like kind of the same because it's like, I had my grandparents. My grandparents were my parents and that was it. Like, and I have relationships with my parents, my mom and my dad, but like they not parental relationships, and it has never been that way. Never, ever. There's never been a moment where like my mom or my dad has done like, until I was an adult at least, anything like a normal parent should do at all. So it does like frustrate me sometimes because now a lot is expected.
Actually feeling empathy and putting someone before themselves and so on and so forth. Like, to that extent, the only way is no contact in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's like getting back into a toxic relationship, and it's like, why?
Yeah, 100%. I'll always be sad that I could never, like, I'll always wish that I could have had these two lovely parents in a relationship with them and that they could be here to see this. And I was sad on tour even. There's always gonna be moments where I'm like, fuck, I wish I had blood parents that I could have a relationship with. But like, that's the majority of my real sadness now, I think, is just for her. Like, it's just mental illness is fucking sad.
To even feel the empathy and stuff. You can still feel it, but it doesn't mean you owe her anything.
Yeah. And I can just tell by her text, she's like still trying to leave my dad and shit. And I'm just like, dude, like, it's like.
Same thing with mine. It's like they have to work through their own shit and stuff. Like, and I know you have to feel bad for somebody in that position because it's like I deal with shit too. And it's like, I can't imagine like some of the stuff that I've gone through, like emotionally and stuff. I can't imagine having kids. Like, like if I had a kid right now, what kind of. Okay, so yeah, it's just, it does kind of sound like maybe her dad is maybe the more, I don't know, rude, mean one. I don't know. Parent I would have been like 100%. You know what I mean? So I think about that sometimes, but also like, I didn't choose to be born. You didn't choose to be born.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, it's not that I ever expected perfection, but I think that there's a line between perfection and cruelty.
Yeah, it's one thing to like not be good, but it's another thing to be like straight up bad.
Yeah, I just feel like she's unfortunately right where I left her, and like that's sad within itself, you know. But
yeah, because you would hope, like, especially if she's trying to build a relationship now, you'd hope that she's like done the work at least since you've been.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm so sorry for everything, and it's like, thanks, dude. Like, I've grown. It's like, yeah, like, dude, I don't know about all that, you know. And it's like she showing up is just wild, but I think that within itself is mental illness. So I do just feel sad, like, for her, and it's like, you know. But
yeah, well, hopefully she does get better, and hopefully everything. I mean,
yeah, my mom is Debbie, and that's just like the truth, and like
and that's a lucky situation.
So fucking lucky, and I just like. I love Debbie so much. That makes me like it. I'm so grateful for her. I love her so much. She's been like the best. You know what I mean though? Like, she really like, she's got 3 fucking kids of her own, and she did not have to like show up for me the way she has, and the way she shows like has shown up for me. Like, we sat down, we're like, we don't need to talk. Like, fuck. It's just like, it's inspiring to me within itself. Like, I said that to my mom. I was like, dude, I hope that you can find peace knowing that one day, like, I'm going to be the greatest mother to rewrite history. And like,
you are,
and I can't like wait to do that. And you know, I don't even know.
I'm like,
it's just like,
I would love to touch on that, but I think no, you are. It's special and it's lucky and it's so cool. But there's some people who are literally born to be parents. Like Debbie was born to be a parent. Like,
yeah,
and like those people. Well, I don't know. I definitely do sense like genuine emotion there. Like, parent stuff does suck. I don't know. Let's keep watching. There's like not everyone chooses to have kids, obviously, but like if you do choose to have kids, whether like it was an accident or not, like step the fuck up. It's so annoying. Like, I'm the same way. I'm so grateful for my grandparents. Like, they didn't have to do that. They were retired.
Exactly.
Like their kids were grown and gone, and they like literally got a 9-year-old and had to start over. Like,
and that's like that within itself, like just stepping up to the plate when you don't have to. And dude, like Debbie and Raj aren't perfect. They have their own shit, you know. But it's like, I know if I needed them,
like your life doesn't have to be perfect to be a good parent. Like,
yeah, like just if I needed them, they would be there. Like the security is like something that I'm just so grateful for, you know.
Yeah.
And like,
I don't know why that like really made me hysterical.
You should have seen me. Like, I was poor Makoa. Like, he's the best boyfriend in the world. Like I was
already been like
scream sobbing, like, just, you know what I mean? And even that within itself, I'm like, dude, like, I just hate putting that on my relationship.
Like, it really shouldn't. And I'm in the same like position where it's like everything is just so much stress for no reason, and I don't like, that's not fair.
Yeah, at all. And like, he's just like was the best. I'm like, I'm so fucking sorry that you're like coming to that is
you should never be sorry. And I'm sure he doesn't care. He would never care. But
like, you're already just showing up in Las Vegas, Nevada, you surfer boy, to watch me fucking play poker for 6 hours, and then like my birth mother shows up to like make you promise that I'm gonna, like, you know what I mean? It's just like,
well,
a mess, dude. I'm good though. Like, even downstairs that we were all like cracking jokes about it, and like it is like life is great, and like I can move on from that. And
well,
like
you're like an influence on me right now, because like obviously there's like, I try not to even talk about it because my mom, like, I still talk to my mom and stuff, but like, God, sometimes I just like, I want to talk about it like really how it is on the podcast, because it's like
it took me so long to be able to like be like this. Like, even when my parents.
Well, I mean, I guess that's good that she can, you know, turn it into, well, dark humor is super helpful and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, that does sound crazy, but I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, how did her mom know that she was going to be there? Was it advertised or something? Like, how did she know it should be at like that specific specific casino at that specific time. Like, unless she's got someone on her team that's just kind of leaking this stuff to her mom. But anyways, let's go on.
Parents were in my life. I was like so embarrassed of how they'd act that I would do everything to like, just, you know what I mean? Like joke about it, glaze over it, whatever. I tried so hard. Like they were in my like OG YouTube videos. Like I was trying
I know.
for
I'm
so,
sobbing. I don't know why.
I got my sob out in Vegas. It was bad. Like I
know. I already like, well, because I'm, whatever.
What?
Sorry.
You're fine.
No, because this is already a meltdown I've been having. So now I'm like listening and I'm like, wow.
I love you. And there's no right answer. That's the thing. Like I think that so much of my healing has come from accepting shit for what it is.
Well,
and
I
then
also
just
think
like,
too, like it's probably helpful for you. Like the same way a relationship is, like going no contact is like mentally just better. Like I still have to talk to everyone every day. I'm like, God, Jesus Christ.
I just had to choose like my own peace. And I really like, I felt so horrible about it until I found out that there was like a whole community of people who like, and I
know, I
read
need
it
to
all the
tap
time.
into that shit because I still have all this guilt where it's like I feel like I'm entitled. Like
Raised by Narcissist Reddit will fucking change your life.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not
like,
kidding.
Dude.
That's a Reddit thread you need to be reading. It changed my life. I'm not kidding. Like knowing that
you
it's
see,
like,
you see the text I get. Like it is so crazy.
And I feel like I'm looking in a mirror.
gaslighting and like the, oh my God, and I'm so emotional already. So literally you can get me so easy and I'm just fucking bending over backwards for these people. I'm like,
same.
why?
And it's like, because they're your parents. And then I just had to get to a point where it was like recognizing like,
they're not.
That's what I'm saying.
My grandparents are my parents. My dad's a.
So I think that's probably, I don't know, if we've gotten the gist of that, like semantics wise, the details, the main story. So let's go to the next video where this was 11 months ago, where she discusses the lawsuit with her parents. Let's get into it.
Yes,
15, you were signed to a
or
management.
16, maybe full contract.
Did your parents have to sign off with you, or was it just
Not for that.
Yeah,
No,
just
they
an account thing.
definitely would control my money, in my opinion, until I was 18.
which you never?
Okay, so now we're kind of getting somewhere. So remember when she said that she was like, what, 13, 14 or something? She moved out and lived with her best friend and his parents. Remember that? Okay. So now here she's saying something different and saying that they controlled her money, but I'm failing to understand how that it would be possible if she would, since she was 14 years old, did not live with them. Like, how would that work? I don't know. Let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back.
They definitely would control my money. Yes,
15, you were signed to a
or
management.
16, maybe
my-
full contract.
Did your parents have to sign off with you, or was it just
Not for that.
Yeah,
No,
just an
they
account thing.
definitely would control my money, in my opinion, until I was 18.
which you never?
Okay, so if they didn't have to sign it, or they didn't sign it, how would they control your money, especially if you weren't living with them? I'm sorry, but that part's not really making sense. Because then, like, how would they have obtained access to you? They didn't sign any kind of paperwork from your agent, and also you didn't live with them. So, like, were you wire transferring them? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
Right, got emancipated or anything.
No, because you get emancipated. I mean, you got to get the parents to go to court. You got to get the parents to sign. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like the court doesn't care enough to like summon a parent to show up for emancipation.
Okay, so now she's talking about emancipation. And she's essentially saying that she needed consent from her parents to get emancipated. And also she comes from Nevada. So let's look up what the law is regarding emancipation in Nevada. Let's look. Let's see. Emancipation, Nevada. Do I need my parents' consent to become emancipated? This is a Rosenblum law firm. God. I think I went through this before. Okay. Okay, here we go. Do I need my parents' consent to become emancipated? No. You don't need your parents' consent to file for emancipation. However, they will be informed of the court proceedings and have the right to attend and express their views. So basically, that's kind of like the whole, I guess if you don't know what emancipation means, it means like you're a child, like a minor, but you file for the right to kind of like be your own autonomous thing, like your own guardian, essentially. And so basically you file this paperwork and then you take it to the courts and then you, I guess, notify your parents and then they're able to respond if they, I guess, wish. And then the court will decide if you are able to emancipate yourself. But it also would kind of almost like negate the whole principle or purpose of emancipation if you had to get parental consent, because the whole idea behind it is that you, moving forward, will no longer need them to give their consent. So it wouldn't really make sense. And usually when people ask for that or, go into those situations, it's usually quite dire. So, yeah. So, she's wrong. You do not, in Nevada, need parental consent to become emancipated. So, yeah. Let's rewind just a little bit there.
Parents to sign. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like the court doesn't care enough to like summon a parent to show up for emancipation.
Or anything.
No, because to get emancipated, I mean, you got to get the parents. In my opinion, until I was 18.
Which you never got emancipated or anything.
No, because to get emancipated, I mean, you got to get the parents to go to court. You got to get the parents to sign. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like the court doesn't care enough to like summon a parent to show up for emancipation. And I think in every regard they wanted to emancipate me, except for the fact.
Also, the court does care to summon people. It's called a subpoena. They do it a lot. In fact, it's a very big part of law. It's like you can be subpoenaed, meaning you don't have a choice. Like you're showing up, and if you don't show up, bitch, your ass is getting thrown into jail. So, court absolutely will and can do that. So,
That would then, emancipation sometimes can cut people off from children's finances.
Right.
So
oh my God. Are you like relieved that's the cutoff, or were you like traumatized? Like, is that the lot? I can't imagine thinking my parents didn't want me or something.
The real cutoff was in 2021. They sued me heavily sued me attempted to sue me. I never fully went to court for slander because I talked about my childhood on my MTV show, and everything I said was my story. And to me, it was my truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the episodes were around how Amari's family took me in. And so a lot of that was telling the reality show how it came about. You know what I mean? And they have I'm sure to an extent that there's two types of lawyers. One.
Okay, so let's try to keep in mind. So she's now saying, she's giving us now a time frame, 2021. Okay, when they allegedly sued her. So let's kind of keep that in mind.
That you pay hourly and whatever. And then the type of lawyer that comes on and says, you don't have to pay me, but if we win, I get
pro bono.
Wait. Okay. I remember hearing this. Okay, so what she's saying is, because that's kind of something that ran through my mind, because I was like, how the heck did her parents, who she said that she was raised poor or little to, I don't know, you know what I mean? Poor or poor adjacent, I don't know. So how would they have the funds or the ability to sue, Tana, who's a millionaire or whatever, like that, because obviously she can afford to have top-notch lawyers. How would they have that ability to do that? And essentially what she's saying is that their lawyers worked on contingency basis, which means that you don't pay by the hour or anything like that, or you don't pay up front at all. You pay a percentage of whatever you win at the end. They take a cut from it, which is very rare in law. Because why? Because it means if you lose, they don't get shit. Generally, at least in my experience here, in Canada or whatever, where I work, it generally tends to happen in situations where it's insurance or something. Yeah, insurance based or something, where they're comfortable, they're at least going to get something, So, and also, how the fuck would she know what their fee arrangement is? That's confidential. How the fuck would she know about their retainer agreement? That's very personal. And I highly doubt that they would offer that information up to her. It's confidential. So, I don't know. How would she know that as well?
Whatever. And then the type of lawyer that comes on and says, you show how it came about. You know what I mean? And they have I'm sure to an extent that there's two types of lawyers. One that you pay hourly and whatever. And then the type of lawyer that comes on and says, you don't have to pay me, but if we win, I get 40%.
Pro bono.
Yeah. So it was one of those. And my lawyer was explaining to me, because my lawyer has been an entertainment lawyer his whole life. He's done Stormy Daniels, Trump, the craziest cases.
Yeah.
He's fucking the GOAT. Shout out Keith and Melanie.
Wow. She has Trump's lawyer. Wow. That's not a flex.
I would die without you guys. And he was like, listen, I've seen this 1,000 times, you know, like child star, pro bono lawyer, parents want money, lawyer wants money, so they run it home. So it was one of those like situations.
So what happened with it?
We ended up settling. Like I just paid them. I paid them off. I'm not gonna lie. Not the full, you know, settling obviously comes with settling. So we worked it down to as low as the pro bono lawyer would go without going to court, because this was during quarantine.
Oh my God.
So
Okay. I just caught something that I didn't even catch before, and I watched this already. In this video, remember this. In this video, she's saying that she settled before it went to court. So it never went to court. That's what she's saying. Like, it settled before it went to court or to trial. Remember that she said that. I actually just got that now. Remember that, because she's going to change her story later on.
Court cases were dragged out at that time for like 3 years. And every case was like, or every time we'd meet and in mediation and discuss it, was bringing up so much shit from my childhood. Like, that's what I had to fight, that like these things I said are true and here's why and here's what happened to me. And they had to fight, you know, like we never did this and whatever. But it was getting to the point where it's like the court case would be in front of a jury, you know, for years of my life, and medical subpoenas and all this, you know what I mean? Like, prove that you needed so much dental work because you never got it. Like, go prove with your blood work that you aren't on drugs and not saying this, just all this fucking crazy ass shit. And I was like, I don't want to do that
so
Johnny
much.
Depp and Amber Heard style in front of the whole world for 3 years.
You're
So
a spectacle.
there was an amount of money that was worth just making it all stop, I guess, you know?
I know, because
So.
people look at you, and like with Johnny Depp, it's like you look at him as just that now. You don't think of him as a good actor. Like,
Yeah, and I mean,
Okay, so speaking of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, so I did cover that. Like, I read pretty much all, I'm sure maybe not all, but like nearly all of the legal documents, the papers, whatever. I did really in-depth videos and deep dive on that as well. And defamation lawsuits are very difficult to do. And another thing to also keep in mind is, how do you quantify the money that you are suing the person for? So generally, okay, actually, I have researched this, okay. So, calculating damages depends heavily on the facts of your particular case. Usually, plaintiffs will engage an expert in economics to perform a damages analysis. With respect to losses to the plaintiff's business or profession, the damages suffered are usually measured by the difference between the plaintiff's actual earnings and the plaintiff's projected earnings, but for the defendant's actions. So the first step in calculating damages is to project the plaintiff's revenue based on his or her life expectancy and retirement age. To do so, the expert must first analyze the plaintiff's historical earnings. Then the expert will calculate the future revenue and earnings based on the plaintiff's damaged reputation and compare that data to the revenues and earnings projection as if no damage has been done. So as you may suspect, it's not an exact science. It involves calculated speculation, which will rely on a multitude of factors, including income tax return, state of economy and state of industry, business calendar, salary, Okay, you get the hint. So when she said that, like, originally, like, they sued for millions or something, like, how would they have come up with that number? Because I think she said they were like 50 when she was born, or something, like they're a lot older even to begin with. So, like, I hate to say it, but they wouldn't have that much time left to work if they even were still technically working at the time. And also, like, they come from humble beginnings, so I don't think that they were making that much. So I don't know that like millions of dollars would make sense, you know? At least that's my opinion, allegedly.
not that, you know, I wouldn't really care. The clout of it all would have been like fun, but I think the trauma outweighed the clout for that one, which is rare for me.
Right. Yeah, you don't talk too much about it. I was just curious.
Well, again, one day book, I'll air everything that I feel out one day, but I really just have never, I don't talk about it a lot because I don't want to go through it again. I don't want to go back to court. I don't know where they are. I don't know if they're alive, if they're dead, if they're in the mood to run that back and collect another, I think if they ever did run it back, I would go to court though. I would do the damn thing just out of spite. I'm not going to,
That's what a lot of people do, I feel, because you don't want to pay to settle, because then it just shows like anyone can do that to you. Anyone can just kind of like, especially
and when
parents.
it comes to legal like work shit, I'm fighting it to the fucking core. I'm not going to settle, because then exactly it shows everyone.
Yeah, especially if you are not in the wrong in this, but it's your own parents, which is like.
That's what made it so hard. It was so much like emotional shit along with, and I was just so busy at the time. It was like, oh my God, like what, I need to stop working and shooting and doing everything in the world to sit in court.
So time consuming, money just like drains. Like anytime I've done a lawsuit, it drains. I won a lawsuit and I still haven't gotten paid, and you have to like get a private investigator to like take the funds out of their account, and if they don't have the funds, it's like even if you win, you lose. It's like so much money.
And that's the thing too, is it's like I've gone to court with people and sued them and countersued and all that type of stuff and won, because those people had money that I could win.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm losing that no matter what, because either I'm paying or I'm not paying them, and I'm paying my lawyers as much as I was going to pay them.
Right. So it's just easier to like have it cut like that.
Yeah. Which obviously my pride wanted to, but.
Oh, I'm the same way.
Well, I can like understand what she's saying, I guess, ish. But I mean, generally, it could also be like, let's say that they did in fact sue her, as she alleges, and she told the truth, like of her past experiences with her parents, and it was true. Then I'm sure she could somehow prove that. However, it would probably like go public, and that's another thing to note. There's just a lot of discrepancies when she talks about like her parents like suing her and stuff. A lot of like different things changing quite a lot, and one thing that I also noticed, like I tried to find case law for this, and I could not find it anywhere. So, meaning that either she's full of shit, or B, that it never ended up actually like getting filed, and it was just like a cease and desist. But generally, a cease and desist just means stop. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's just like a warning usually. So typically, people at least file the initial paper. I mean, you never know, but she said that they went to like mediation and all this kind of stuff. So you would think that, because really technically, if court papers aren't filed, then there's no action, and then it's just, I don't know, there's not really anything. I mean, that's not to say that maybe it did in fact happen, but like it got sealed or something, but I don't think so. It's just, it would have been like a civil defamation case, so like those are usually like public records. Sometimes you gotta pay or something, but like it's usually accessible for a price anyway. So that also seems odd to me. But yeah, let's watch the next video. Okay, so this is kind of like the meat and potatoes of all of this, and this is kind of this is our H3 podcast where she really goes in depth about the lawsuit allegedly from her parents. This was a year ago. So remember that she claimed that this lawsuit allegedly happened around 2021. Okay. So let's get into it.
Partying in the hotels and the casinos, and you know what I mean? Everyone's selling drugs, doing drugs.
So what did your parents do for a living? When did you guys move there?
They lived there for like 20 years before me.
Okay.
And they were like older, like a lot older.
Your parents are older?
Yeah.
Are you only child?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
But they're not, like, my best friend's family like basically adopted me when I was like 13, like, and took me, and like now every holiday I go see them. They're my family 100%. But like my family I was born into, they were just very crazy. All their money was very illegal. It's so hard. I can't say a lot of things for legal reasons. There's like.
So it sounded to me like she was trying to say that all their money was illegal, meaning that if they were in fact doing illegal work, then on paper they probably didn't have much to account for, which is how we just read back that that's how they calculate the amount to get paid. So I don't know that if they were just like, like doing shady shit, illegal shit on paper, little to no income, I don't know how they would have been able to compute like millions to sue her for. That doesn't make sense.
Like a hole.
With your parents?
Really? Which is nuts.
Well, so how long did you live with your parents?
I mean, I guess technically until I was like 15, but like by 14, I was like staying with my friends for like months at a time and shit. Like I was out. It was just a very volatile environment. And
so growing up with your parents, they were like, do they have like some kind of, like, what was it? How much older are they?
My parents were like in their 50s raising me.
Okay.
And they just, in my opinion, weren't very good people.
Okay, so that's something to take note of. So even when she was like a little kid or whatever, her parents were in her 50s. So 2021, at that point, they probably were like retirement age or pretty close to it. So keep that in mind. So it would have been like, I guess, to the age of retirement, like the computing of it. So again, another issue that would like make it not a huge amount that they could sue her for. If that makes sense.
Like we just, you know what I mean? I was very independent. Like I did everything on my own for as long as I can remember. Like just even my meals and my money and getting to school and doing it. That's one of the main reasons I dropped out of school. Like it was just like.
Oh, shit. Okay, I just caught her again. Okay. So she said, I was very independent, including my meals and my money. I was very independent, including my meals and my money. Remember that. Okay? Because she's going to change her story later on.
Nothing was a functioning routine, and I never learned that. I was very much so independent. Anytime I really needed to fall on a parental figure for anything, it was always my best friend's family.
That's got to be painful, though, that like your relationship with your parents is so fraught.
100%.
That's hard. That's really.
And obviously being an only child through that as well, not really having someone to like, and that's why I credit my best friend for like saving my life, for like being my brother. He still lives with me to this day. Like he's literally my brother, and it's amazing. I credit him to really helping me with that. And I've tried to work out. There's so much trauma and so many things that I can't wait to talk about one day. Jeanette McCurdy wrote that book. It was like, I'm glad my mom died.
Yeah, is it like that?
100%.
Holy fuck, dude.
Like I can't wait until. But
you want your parents to die?
I don't want them to die. I don't want anyone to die.
Would you be sad if they died?
It's weird. I just had this recently. Like, I guess I found out through the grapevine that my mom was like super sick. I guess, right? My birth mom. And
you don't talk to them at all. You don't know anything.
And even then, it was like it was up in the air of like, what if she dies, right? And I had this whole existential moment of like, I remember crying. And I was like, why am I crying? Like, I don't feel like this person ever loved me. And but it's sad knowing that it's closed. I guess you'll always have that irrational hope that they could one day be people and like apologize.
It's not even irrational. We need the love of our.
Why do you mean situationally irrational? I know they don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? You know what I mean? And I went to therapy about it a lot. My therapist was like. And it's hard to when you talk to people about it because it's very much like what my mom does. Everyone's like, call her, talk to her. That's your mom. And I've always been such a firm believer in like, because people have said that to me my whole life. You know, I'm like, I don't talk to my parents. They're not my cup of tea. And people are like, but it's your mom, it's your dad. But to me, it's if someone never shows you the love.
When you say it wasn't my cup of tea, I don't think people understand.
I know.
Because it sounds like there was.
In my legal terms.
It sounds like there was abuse.
Absolutely.
It sounds like it was a really traumatic.
Absolutely.
You know,
but
so
I've said that before, and then I've been in court having to almost pay millions of dollars for slander.
Really?
So yeah, exactly. So this is kind of like what I'm saying. Millions of dollars. How did they come up with that amount? Just saying. Let's keep watching.
You can slander your parents?
Apparently.
Like, what damage are you going to do to them?
Yeah,
So are you going through litigation right?
Sorry, guys. And also, Ethan from H3H3 has gone through defamation cases in the past, so he kind of knows what it's involved. So, yeah. Okay, one sec.
Now with your parents?
This was like 2 or 3 years ago.
And did you guys settle?
Yeah, because it's basically, I guess I can talk about this. I don't know. I mean,
well, did you sign an NDA?
I signed a non-disparagement.
So don't disparage them. That means you can be honest.
Okay, so non-disparagement, that was a new one to me, actually. And I looked it up, and it was mostly relating to, like, employment contracts or something like that. And meaning that you cannot say anything about them, like, in a negative manner, whether true or not true. So, whereas, like, I guess defamation is, like, yeah, defamation is you can't be found liable for defamation if it's true. So for non-disparagement means you cannot say anything negative about them, whether true or not. Okay. Anyways, let's keep watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
received a letter, that basically said, you said these things on this reality show. When I was on MTV and I had a show, we went and kind of toured my childhood homes, and I said a lot of things that someone in court could say, create a loss of income, which is so untrue. It was definitely just a cash grab. Everyone was very, in my opinion, but everyone was very aware of it being like that. And it went back and forth for a while. And then it got to the point where it would have been, and this was peak COVID, so it was all over Zoom and just awful for my mental state as well. Like having to just like relive so much stuff all the time that to me, I felt like I had been beginning to put to rest. And it got to a point where it would have been years in court and it would have been a public trial and it would have been like medical subpoenas all the time and just like so much shit.
You couldn't get rid of it on like before a trial?
I tried as hard as I
What
possibly
the
could.
fuck?
And
Wait. You couldn't get rid of it before trial, but in the previous video, didn't she say it settled before it went to trial, right? Okay, let's go back just a little bit, because she really does kind of like, I mean, she comes across very intelligent, but like, I guess like that's what happens when you lie. I mean, allegedly, in my opinion, when you lie, it's difficult to kind of remember sometimes, especially if you don't know legalese, but you're just kind of like flossing like maybe you do. Okay, anyways, let's go back.
You couldn't get rid of it on like before a trial?
I tried as hard as I
What
possibly
the
could.
fuck?
It got to a point where it would have been years in court and it would have been a public trial and it would have been like medical subpoenas all the time and just like so much.
You couldn't get rid of it on like before a trial?
I tried as hard as I
What
possibly
the
could.
fuck?
And I don't want to see them. I don't want to talk to them ever again. I don't want to feel that way ever again. I don't want to watch them defend that all the shit that they did to me was that they were good parents, just watching, in my opinion, lie. And yeah, we settled and I had to pay them like a couple $100,000.
Wow.
Okay, so it's settled. Well, settlement doesn't mean that like you can settle at any point, like really. So she said that she's saying that it couldn't be settled before going to trials. Essentially, what she was saying before. So let's keep that in mind, because she does change her story.
Felt like shit. Oh my god, that was like the day in my head where they really like they were dead to me. You know what I mean? Because you can do that to your kid.
I'm mind blown.
Yeah, you suck. But words can't express how grateful I am for my best friend's family. Like they are literally my mother and my father, and his siblings are my brother and my sister, and I'm lucky as fuck. So, you know what I mean? And I guess so many people don't go through Tana Mongeau's life where you have a reality show of your parents. So you
That was I would say that is a very, 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 very rare upbringing. What you're describing, like that's
Yeah.
wild. Do you find it odd that like there's two people, they apparently love each other, or they're still together, right? They're not divorced.
I mean, it was the most toxic thing I've
They were not like a happy married couple.
at all.
So it was just all bad. Loveless house.
But 100%. But I think that trauma bonds are very real. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what they're doing, where they're at, anything like that. Probably spending my money probably at the casino.
What was it that you said that they sued?
Oh shit, not the casino. So this is probably, yeah. How does she know that they're at the casino? So, okay, keep in mind this was filmed February 25th, 2023. And that video about the casino was like today. And then that other one was like 3 months ago. So I guess they've been going to the casino for a long time. I don't know. Was it foreshadowing? So I don't know. I found that to be a little bit sus, but my opinion, allegedly.
That they took issue with. Without saying it's
like,
true. Just saying this is what
because the way that type of lawsuit works, especially because you can do it two ways. You can pay a lawyer a lump sum, or pay a lawyer hourly, or pay a lawyer, retain them to go do it, or you can pay a lawyer a percentage of if you win.
Yeah.
And that's what they had. You know what I mean?
No, that's not how it works. It's not like you have always the option to do it either or. It's very rare that you have the opportunity, ability, whatever, to be able to do it with that method, because like I said prior, like if you lose, then they don't get anything at all, zero. Most lawyers want retainers before they even like touch your file, and they charge hourly to check emails and stuff like that. So it's very rare, and something like defamation, which is super difficult to win and prove, I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying it. And if that's the case, I think